Theme 4: Thinkers, Beliefs and Buildings. Cultural Developments 600 BC to 600 CE. The period between 600 BC to 600 CE was the period of intellectual and cultural developments. During this period witnessed the emergence of new religious beliefs in India. For example, Buddhism and Jainism. The 600 BC regarded as a turning point in the world history. During this period emerged a number of thinkers: Zarathustra in Iran, Kongzi in China, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle in Greece, Mahavira, Gautama Buddha in India. They tried to understand mysteries of existence and relationship between the humans and the cosmic order. The sacrificial tradition. The Rig Veda was compiled between 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Veda is a collection of hymns. These hymns are in praise of variety of deities, especially Agni, Indra and Soma. These hymns were chanted when the sacrifices were performed. People were prayed for cattle, sons, good health, long life and other things. Most important two sacrifices were Rajasuya and Ashwamedha. It was performed by chiefs and kings. These rituals and sacrifices were conducted by Brahmin priests. New questions. People were also raised new questions. These were discussed in the Upanishad. Meaning of life, possibility of life after death, rebirth, etc. were in main questions. They also questioned the significance of sacrificial tradition. Debate and discussions. This period witnessed the rise of 64 sects of school of thoughts. Many teachers traveled from place to place and held discussions, and they also conducted debates. These debates took place in the Kudagara Shala. Many of these teachers, including Mahavira and Buddha, questioned the authority of the Veda. Brahminical tradition believed that the individual existence was determined by his/her birth. Mahavira and Buddha emphasized individual agency, suggesting that men and women could attain salvation. Message of Mahavira. The Jaina believed that their most important teacher had 23 predecessors who were called Tirthankaras. Vardhamana Mahavira is considered 24th Tirthankara. Teaching of Jainism. The entire world is animated. Stones, rocks and water have life and soul. The central philosophy of Jainism is ahimsa, non-violence, non-injury to living beings. Highest goal of human life is the attainment of nirvana or moksha. Nirvana is freedom from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Karma is the cause of birth and rebirth. Nirvana can be attained by making karma pure. It can be obtained through three ratnas, three jewels. First one, right knowledge. Second one, right faith. Third, right action. Jaina monks and nuns took 5 oaths: to abstain from killing, to abstain from stealing, to abstain from lying, to abstain from possessing property, to observe celibacy. The Buddha and the quest for enlightenment. Buddha was one of the most influential teachers of that period. The teaching of Buddha reconstructed by the historians by using Buddhist texts, hagiographies. He was born in 563 BC at Lumbini near Kapilabastu. He belonged to Sakya clan. For great sights made great impact on his mind. An old man, sick man, a corpse, a homeless mendicant. Siddhartha noted that the ascetic appeared in peace and calm. Soon he left the palace in search of the supreme truth. Finally, he attained enlightenment. After he came to known as Buddha or the Enlightened One. The teaching of the Buddha. Buddha's teaching has been reconstructed from stories from mainly in the Sutta Pitaka. The world is transient and constantly changing. It is also soulless. There is nothing permanent or eternal in it. Buddhism did not give any importance to God. Buddha regarded the social world as the creation of human rather than of divine origin. Buddha was emphasized individual agency and righteous action as the means to escape from the cycle of rebirth to attain self-realization and nibbana. His last words to his followers were, "Be lambs unto yourselves, as all of you must work out your own liberation." Buddhist text. Three Pitakas. Three Pitakas. First one, Vinaya Pitaka. Second, Sutta Pitaka. Third one, Abhidhamma Pitaka. Followers of the Buddha. Sangha. Buddha founded a Sangha, an organization of monks. They were the teachers of Dharma. They led simple life. Women were also permitted to join Sangha. Separate Sangha were organized for women. They were called bhikshunis. Respected or those who attained salvation were called theris. The members of the Sangha came from many social groups. They included kings, wealthy men, and Gahapadis, and also workers, craftsmen, and even slaves. Chaityas. People believed certain places as sacred. They constructed a small shrine there. These were called Chaityas. Word derived from Chida means funerary mound. Many Chaityas associated with the Buddha's life. For sacred places. Lumpini, the place where Buddha was born. Bodh Gaya, where they attained enlightenment. Saranath delivered first his speech. Kushinagar, where attained Nibbana. Vihara means residence of monks. Stupas. The stupas are regarded as sacred places. The stupas were mound, relics of Buddhas buried here. It was built with stone or bricks. The Emperor Ashoka was built a number of stupas in various parts of India. Barhut, Sanchi, Saranath are the most famous stupas. Who built stupas? Kings, guilds, ordinary people, bhikshus, bhikshunis. The structure of stupas. Stupa is a Sanskrit word. It means a heap or mound. In the beginning, stupas were simple, semicircular mound. It is called anda. Gradually, it became complex structure. It began to construct in square and round shapes. Above anda, balcony-like structure was built. It was called harmiha. Arising from harmiha, a mast called yasti. It was surmounted by a chhatri or umbrella. There was a wall around the stupas. It separated the sacred space from the material world. Discovering stupas. History of Amaravati Stupa. In 1796, a local Raja of Amaravati used the stones of the stupas to build a temple. Some years later, British officer Colin Mackenzie visited this place and prepared detailed drawings of them. In 1854, Walter Elliot visited Amaravati. He collected sculptures and took them to Madras. Some of the slabs from Amaravati were taken to different places: Calcutta, Madras, London. H.S. Cole opposed these acts and argued that originals should remain where they had been found. Why did Sanchi survived? Why Amaravati did not? The ruler of Bhopal, Shah Jahan Begum, took wise decision to protect Sanchi's stupa. They provide money for the preservation of the site. They found a museum there. Sanchi was the best preserved monuments, but such measure not taken in the case of Amaravati. Sculptures at Sanchi considered as beautiful and valuable. Stories in stones. The sculptures at Sanchi depict scenes from Jataka stories. One scene identified as scenes from the Vesantara Jataka. This is a story about a prince who gave everything to Brahmana and went to live in the forest with his wife and children. Symbols of worship. The early sculpture does not have the image of Buddha. Instead, they use symbols. The empty seat, meditation of the Buddha. The stupa, Mahaparinibbana, or last days of Buddha. Wheel, first sermon. Tree, attainment of enlightenment. Popular tradition. Some sculptures at Sanchi were not influenced by Buddhist ideas. Shalabhanchika, beautiful women, swinging from the edge of the gateway, holding into a tree. Shalabhanchika was a woman whose touch caused the tree to flower and bear fruit. Many people who turned into Buddhism, they enriched it with their own pre-Buddhist and even non-Buddhist beliefs, practices, and ideas. Many animals were also represented in sculptures. Animals used as symbols of human attributes. Elephant, strength and wisdom. A woman surrounded by lotus and elephant. Some historians identified it as Maya, mother of Buddha. Others identified it as a goddess Gajalakshmi. Figure of serpent is found at Sanchi. These motifs seem to derive from popular traditions. James Ferguson, a modern historian, considered Sanchi as the center of tree and serpent worship. New religious traditions. The development of Mahayana Buddhism. By the 1st century, many changes had taken in Buddhist ideas and practices. Differences arose among the Buddhist monks over the teaching of Buddha. These differences became acute in the Fourth Council held at Kashmir during the reign of Kanishka, ultimately led to split, Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana literally means the lesser vehicle. They followed the original doctrine of Buddhism. They used Pali language. They followed older traditions. Mahayana literally means greater vehicles. They followed the new doctrines, code of ethics. They worshipped image of the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. They found Buddha as a savior, worshipped as God. They used Sanskrit language to preach the teaching of Buddhism. Growth of Puranic tradition. There were two important traditions that developed with Puranic Hinduism: Vaishnavism. Their principal deity was Vishnu. They believed in various avataras or incarnation of Lord Vishnu. According to Vaishnavism, there are 10 avataras in order to save the world whenever the world was threatened by evil forces. Different avataras popular in different parts of the country. Shaivism. Shiva was regarded as a chief god. Shiva was symbolized by the linga. He was also represented in the form of human figure. Some of these deities were represented in sculpture. All such representations depicted a complex set of ideas about the deities. To understand the meaning of this sculpture, historians have to be familiar with the Puranas. Temple architecture. The early temple was a small square room called the Garbhagriha. Images installed in this room. Gradually, an old structure known as Shikhara was built over the central shrine. Temple walls were often decorated with sculpture. An amazing example of cave temples, Kailasanatha temple at Ellora.